Hello everybody, welcome back to take 13 of my analysis video on the greatest Weezer collab ever conceived. And you might be thinking, oh, Lil Wayne. No, I mean Weezer Fred. Fred and Weezer Go to the Moon. Great video, released in 2019 or something. So we're going to be diving into Fred and Weezer Go to the Moon together, and I'm just going to analyze it, so let's go.
Hey, it's Fred! And I'm here in Hollywood and I'm gonna sell my album to a record label!
So this is a classic kind of Fred introduction. Hey, it's Fred. Longtime fans of Fred will recognize his comedic style of delivery. You know, it's a joke that not many people can pull off. It's called loud equals funny, and it's something that is key to Fred's comedic style, which is one of the reasons he's obviously a world famous, beloved comedian. Anyway, let's see what Fred's gonna say.
Kanye West, 50 Cent, Shaquille O'Neal, you all better be watching out because I'm gonna be the #1 singing recording artist!
So this is actually true. This actually happened, is that this record became a huge hit for Fred. For those of you who don't know, topped charts all over the world. Fred became a kind of famous, very famous recording artist, ahead of Shaquille O'Neal. Here's an establishing shot, which Fred invented, by the way. Now, you might be thinking, oh, here's an establishing shot of a place, right? But subtly here, you know, it's not just any place, right? It's something here written. So this says company. This says company, and so from this we can gather that this is a company. Now, maybe a baby stupid YouTuber would put company, you know, just company. But Fred actually subtly includes another detail here. If you look closely, you can see here it says record. It's not just a company, it's a record company. And this is telling the audience, you know, Fred is at a record company. And so this establishing shot very successfully kind of introduces a new part of the plot, new setting. Over here, we've got nothing because I'm not allowed to make jokes about urban design again. So here we go. That wasn't a transition, by the way. Fred teleported.
Bored? I mean, don't they know who I am? I should not be waiting this long. There must be any—
So this is a classic relatable joke. You know, this is a relatable joke. You've all been there before, sitting in the reception area of a major record company trying to sell your new record, but you're really impatient and so bored and nobody will entertain you, and also you're Fred. So this is something that I think anybody can kind of relate to, anybody can kind of get behind. Yeah, I like this joke.
entertained! You, Fern, wanna play hide and go seek with me?
This is a Weezer fan move. You know, talks to the fan. Every Weezer fan does this.
The kitchen!
Here we have a new scene, and look here, right? This is kind of suggesting to us, this background here, is suggesting to us that this is going to take place, right? This shot of a kitchen, close-up of Fred. Where's it going to take place in? Say it with me. This here place. So, yep, what's happening in the kitchen?
I bet there's lots of places to hide in here.
I actually don't like this part of the video because Fred doesn't go into enough detail. He just says there's lots of places to hide here. Yeah, that's such an oversimplification of kitchen hiding strategy. And as a hide-and-seek professional, I'm a little bit upset that he didn't include a lot of the strategies there. You know, low cupboards. Obviously, if you're younger, you can fit in the low cupboards. Once I'm a grown man watching Fred, so I know you can get into the high cupboards. I hide in the high cupboards. You know, fridge is another good place to hide. It's a bit cold in there, so make sure you bring your coat. But no one checks in the fridge because they think, oh, you know, there's just vegetables in the fridge, nothing else. So that is one thing nobody ever thinks of the fridge. Hiding in the sink as well. You think, oh, there's just water in the sink, right? No one checks in there. Another strategy I like to do is I like to lie on the floor of my kitchen, which isn't really a strategy, I just do it. So, moving on. Fred puts his head in the microwave. Something we've all done, I'm sure. And let's analyze this part frame by frame. Frame by frame. Watch this. Look at Fred. He's running along, you see? And he looks at the copy machine. What do you think is going to happen here? You know, guess, right? Look, turns around. He's going to carry on running, you might think. But this is a turning point, you see. It's indicated here. turns around, turning point. The idea kind of forms in Fred's head to do something. We don't know what he's going to do, but it's definitely something. Now look what he does. Turns back around. What is happening with Fred here? What's he doing? And you'll see what he's about to do. So this is another interesting detail that becomes more evident second watches, third watches. You look at the video again, you see him doing that, you think, oh, I know. And this is rewarding viewers who are watching the video twice. I know he's about to stick his head in the copy machine, you know? And also subtly kind of suggested by the copy machine, was subtly suggested by the microwave earlier. The microwave obviously suggesting Fred sticks his heads in things. Now he's sticking his head in the copy machine. Genius.
I know I'm supposed to be hiding, but I've always wanted to try this. This computer...
So one thing I ask is, why did they let Fred in the server room? That's kind of negligence. Why is there a little boy allowed in the server room? Why didn't anybody stop him from going in there? One thing you might be asking, and I guess maybe it's because Weezer are actually the only people who work at this company, and there's nobody in the server room, it's just there. So I think that's one thing.
Room is a perfect place for me to hide. Look what this does.
The difference, and you can tell from his face, the difference between Fred and I is Fred's clearly broken it by accident. The difference between him and I is I would break it deliberately if I was in the server room. So here we have Fred. He's running up to the camera. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? I bet he's gonna say something quiet. Is what I'm thinking. That's my first initial kind of thought.
Oh my damn it! This office is so super awesome.
Obviously, Fred turns towards the camera, says something. You know, Fred is aware of the audience. Is another key detail. You know, practiced by famous filmmakers like yep. I would do that, by the way, if I was in this situation. I would also do that, and that, and also I would actually do all of those things if I was in this situation.
Hey, this is a list of my demands for Fred Ficklehorn. He'd like a TV dinner sent up to this office, a copy of Nightmare on Sesame Street. Also, if you have one, please send up a golden toilet seat. He doesn't like the white one.
So this is another really interesting detail about the video, is we get a bit of character insight into Fred's character here. You know, maybe he's a little bit arrogant. You know, Fred is the kind of anti-hero. You know, he's not. You know, we love Fred, but he's got his flaws. You know, he's impatient, he's arrogant, he likes the golden toilet seat, you know. He doesn't want to sit on a regular toilet seat, you know. So he has this kind of elevated sense of self-importance, which further cements him as this beloved anti-hero, you know. Very clever writing.
What? I'm sending them right in.
Who's she sending in? Is what you're asking. Who is she sending in? Let's try to guess. Maybe it's, you know, Jonathan is my guess. So let's have a look. Fred composed that, by the way. Hides under the desk. You might be thinking maybe an earthquake's about to happen, which you should do. If there's an earthquake happening, you should go under a table, protect your head. But actually, you know, this is a plot twist, because there's not an earthquake, it's something else. Who's about to walk in? Patrick Wilson, and I don't know any of these other people. I guess they're Weezer, which makes sense because it's for men, for people who, you know, that's Weezer, obviously. And also that wasn't edited, by the way, because you might be thinking it's edited, but actually every time Weezer walk into a room, explosions happen, floor catches fire, their logo pops up. So this is another way we can tell it's Weezer, even though I don't know any of their names, is that, yeah, the fires and that kind of thing.
Oh, it's just Weezer. Weezer? Oh my...
How delightful it is to meet you, sirs. Weezer, I'm such a big fan of your work. I'm so glad to hear that, Frederick Ficklehorn. We're absolutely chuffed to meet you. Fantastic. Why not have a cup of tea, sirs?
Yeah, but it's Weezer! Oh my gosh, you guys, I love your music. Oh my god. It's real people, it's really Weezer, it's really the band Weezer.
So this is kind of classic Fred fan of Weezer, because Fred is kind of satirizing the way Weezer fans react to Weezer. So this is another layer of comedy here, satire of the Weezer fandom for being so enthused about Weezer. And can you really blame them when Weezer's so cool? I mean, no.
So you must be our hotshot new agent.
See, this is another thing. This is another detail that not many people notice. Brian says you must be a hotshot new agent, but right, why would their hotshot new agent react like that? Why would their hotshot new agent say, "Oh my God, it's Weezer"? Ah! Why would their hotshot new agent do that? Well, it's because that's how everybody reacts to meeting Weezer, even their agents. Just because they're such a cool and great band, you know. They only have good albums, only ever release good albums, really popular, great albums. Loads of people love Weezer. And this is not even a joke, by the way. I actually do like Weezer. I'm not making fun of Fred or Weezer in this video. I do actually like Fred and Weezer, right? And that's just the way things are. You know, they made El Scorcho. They made Long Time Sunshine. They made Grapes of Wrath. They're a band that made The Angel and the One. They made music, is what I'm saying. And Fred is just funny. And you in your comments section, you can be like, "Oh, but Weezer's terrible, they made Raditude," right? I don't want to hear it, is what I'm saying. I don't want to hear that, because what's wrong with you? Why can't you like Raditude? It's a fun album. Anyway, let's get back to the analysis.
Come at a bad time, did we?
Oh, no, you're fine. I mean, I was just listening to this hot new artist named Fred Ficklehorn. He's really talented. They're actually thinking he's gonna win a Grammy.
So what I'm saying is, like, people are sitting there at their desks. They're like, oh my gosh, Weezer made the tapping was the sound of their keyboards, by the way. They have wooden keyboards. They're just sitting there at the desk. They're like, "Oh, I hate Weezer so much. They made Raditude." I'm like, just grow up. What's wrong with you? What, your biggest problem in the world is the fact that Weezer made Raditude? Why? Why are you so obsessed with this album being bad? Even though it's not bad. It's not a bad album. None of their albums are bad. Leave them alone. Anyway.
This year. I'm gonna play you some of his music, okay? Who's ready to party? Get it started. Who's ready to party?
So this is actually foreshadowing, you know, who's ready to party? Again, foreshadowing back to Can't Stop Partying, a Weezer song, which was released about a year before this. So this is actually a new way to use foreshadowing. Fred foreshadows something that already happened in the past. So that's really interesting, in my opinion. A really new way to use foreshadowing.
Like it?
That's really good, but why'd you call us in here?
Well, obviously.
So I noticed how they actually cut Brian. They only showed Pat, Scott, and Rivers, who were all dancing. But Brian wasn't dancing. They cut him out. He was just sitting still. You saw it in the shot of Rivers. When Rivers was dancing, Brian wasn't dancing. So that kind of adds a new layer to his character, you know. There's more going on behind the surface of Brian's character, you know. Maybe he wouldn't say something he really agreed with. Maybe he just wants to move along the conversation. Well, you know, that's really good, but... Right? So that's interesting. That's an interesting part about his character in this.
We all know you guys are already the biggest band in the world. I mean, duh. You see, the next step in your guys' career is to be the biggest band in the universe. So I have a...
Fred has a kind of implication here. And this implies more about Weezer and more about Fred here. Fred says that they're already the biggest band in the world, which implies by itself that they're the biggest band in the universe, obviously. Because if they were the biggest band in the world, there's no other bands. There's no such thing as extraterrestrial band. But Fred implies the existence of extraterrestrial bands from this. So Fred knows about extraterrestrial bands, and Weezer also knows, because they don't kind of react, they don't question it, they don't go, "Oh, why?" So my theory is that both Weezer and Fred know about extraterrestrial life and extraterrestrial bands. And the reason they don't kind of bring it up ever is just because it's never come up in conversation, you know? I mean, you're going up to, I don't know, I'm just picking a Weezer member at random right here and not the fan favorite, Rivers Cuomo. Say you're talking to Rivers Cuomo and you say, "Hey Rivers, how's your day going?" And he says, "Fine." He's not going to say, there's extraterrestrial bands. It's not relevant. So that's the issue here. Nobody's ever asked them about it. So why would they talk about it? So that's my theory anyway.
3-step plan to get you guys to the moon. So step 1.
So Fred just makes a hologram here out of a laptop that he presumably made, because the laptop wasn't there earlier. So Fred made this laptop, and he made it so it could do holograms. So that's another interesting thing. So I think Fred knows more than he's letting on. Maybe Fred knows a lot. Maybe Fred is a genius scientist, which is obviously implied as well by his personality. He acts like a genius scientist. He knows about aliens. He knows how to make a hologram. He knows how to make his own laptop. So the implication here, yeah, I think Fred knows a lot. I think Fred has more beneath the surface. There's layers to his character that aren't necessarily let on unless you really dig deep.
Is to fly you to the moon. Then step 2 is to perform a concert on the moon for all the moon men. And they'll like spread the word, they'll love it, they'll tell the other planets. And you know what? Step 3 is to be the biggest band in the whole universe.
They did this, by the way. They did this. They performed on the moon, and they actually did that in the Back to the Shack music video. They played Back to the Shack on the moon. Look it up. Actually, I'll just leave a link in the description. I don't know why I'm saying look it up. I'll leave a link in the description. Watch the Back to the Shack music video. They performed on the moon. Also, Daily Fred also implies that Fred owns his own newspaper. So that's another thing. So, yep.
Hey guys, I think we gotta call a Weezer huddle.
So they do this regularly. This wasn't acting. They do this regularly. This is how they came up with all their albums, you know. They were huddling up, you know. They were thinking, oh, you know, critics are saying we've got to return to the classic Weezer sound. What do you guys think? They were all talking about it. I know. Let's make an orchestral album. And we're just going to call it OK Human, even though it has nothing to do with the Radiohead album. We're going to call it that. And the critics were like, oh, Weezer, they're going to make a bad album. Joke's on them, because OK Human's actually good. So, what? Yeah. Got him. Yep.
So you guys cool with this?
They're gonna do it.
See, this is another aspect of Fred's character. I think there's layers to his character. He's again, you know, the arrogant side of Fred is showing itself here. He's listening in on the Weezer huddle. That's really bad etiquette, you know. I mean, you don't just listen in on the Weezer huddle. Any Weezer fan knows that, you know. That's really poor etiquette. And the fact that he's doing it shows this kind of side to his character that we're not really seeing in other parts. So I think that's really interesting. I think that's a really interesting part of his character.
So,
Teleports again. You can tell because of the bike noise. The bike ding plays every single time that Fred teleports.
what do you guys think of my presentation?
Well, we've thought really long and hard about this, and
See, this is building suspense, and you'll tell by the sound effect that's about to play. Building suspense. Genius. We don't know what Weezer's going to say.
our decision is
Fred composed that.
we're going to play on the moon.
And you think it's over. You think it's over, don't you? Oh, you naive audience again, thinking it's over. Fred brings in the final plot twist.
Hey Fred, I guess this is for you.
They should do this more often. I want Rivers Cuomo to give me a plan. I want Rivers Cuomo to give me my own fan, is what I'm saying. As a Weezer fan, I think lots of Weezer fans want that. And this is obviously given in this video, showing that Fred knows. Fred knows about Weezer fans. Fred is clearly a big Weezer fan. Rivers passes him the plant, right? Which is obviously another example of cyclic structure. You know, we start with the plant, we're now ending with the plant. Very genius writing right here. And the plant's going to say something.
There you go. See ya.
Your IT. So I don't know what that means. It's a genius Fred move, I guess. Or maybe it's Spanish, your T in Spanish, and that's actually an exclamation mark, just upside down, you know, because it's Spanish. So, one or the other. So that's it for this video. I don't know why I made this. Terrible idea, but you know, I'm a big fan of Fred. You know, watched him when I was a little baby, so that's great. Check out his channel if you're into funny Fred video. Also, check out Weezer. You know, they got a new album out, just came out yesterday, Hurley. Lots of good tracks on that. Memories, Trainwrecks, all my favorite songs. Lots of good tracks on Hurley that I really like. Every track on Hurley is good. So yeah, I don't know what you're all complaining about. Weezer's the best band ever, and that's my concluding thoughts. And bye. I'm uploading this whether it's funny or not, which it's not. Bye.